Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Michael Reed on the line, and he's general partner over at Deep Future. And I'm welcoming Michael back onto the show. Man, good to see you. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here with you once again for my second ever.
I
And probably
almost, I know, I almost said welcome home, Mike. I was like, oh, wait a minute. No. That's awesome. Well, I'm excited about today's topic and content. So, of course, we're going to get into some of your projects, and then we'll get into your background a bit for those that maybe haven't seen some of our previous work together. And then I want to talk about the power of networks and really what you've been able to do to create meaningful outcomes. So we'll get into that and a bunch more. But to get us kicked off here, so Michael, at Mission Matters, our aim and our goal is to amplify stories for entrepreneurs, for executives, for experts. That's what we do. Michael, what mission matters to you?
what mission matters most to me today, and I hate to set it up like it's something that I practiced on saying because I haven't, but I feel passionately about this. I feel passionate about making my world that I've created around for me work for everybody. So I leverage all the things around me to have better outcomes for anyone that's within my reach. And that could be better outcomes in their health, it could be better outcomes financially for them, but better outcomes. And I can tell you more about what I have to leverage and how I leverage it as we go on. So that's the mission now that's driving me because it's meaningful and it's doable.
Love bringing mission-based individuals on here to share, how they do what they do, what they're doing, and really what we can all learn from that so that we all grow together. So great to have you back on. And I guess just to get us kicked off here, I mean, give us, so for those that maybe didn't catch some of our previous work together, like give us a little bit about your background and really how you got started in tech and business.
I'm a neuroscientist by training. I spent most of my life doing research, neuroscientific research at the lab bench, mostly in academia and mostly here in the United States. Well, I'm back in Switzerland right now. I'm at the Beau Rivage Hotel, but I used to do research here at the EPFL, and I've done research in Germany, and I've done most of my research in the United States. Well, as a scientist, you go through life, and I think this applies to the vast majority of scientists. You enter life thinking you're going to make a difference and help people do whatever scientific endeavor you're involved in. You think to yourself, I'm going to do this, it's going to be a discovery, and it's going to have immense meaning in someone's life. Well, that's the side of the scientist's mind. The side of everyone else's mind, including other scientists, you're just one drop in the ocean doing your little bit,
Yeah.
As a scientist, you do it to make the world a better place. And so I went from science into finance, and then the natural merger of science and finance. I'm investing in other scientists. I'm investing in venture capitalists. I mean, not venture capitalists, but as a venture capitalist, I'm investing in all kinds of other scientists and technologists and so forth. How do you make that transition from science to finance? Well, as I said, I'm in Switzerland and I lived here for some time. And I think everyone who spent enough time in Switzerland somehow gets it imprinted on them that they're somehow involved in the finance world. And that's what I did. I pulled a lot of the bankers that I know. I pulled a lot of the old families that I know together to help be a part of financing this effort to invest in technology, to invest in innovation, and make the world a better place that way. And my business partner is a guy named Pavlos Holman. He has an opposite but complementary background. He was Jeff Bezos' first hire. So he started off with Blue Origin, running that company for 7 years. And then was hired by Nathan Myhrvold and Bill Gates to build and run something called Intellectual Ventures Lab. And so we were creating technology. They patented over 6,000 innovations in Intellectual Ventures Lab. And he ran that for 12 years. And so pandemic happened, and then he was sitting around and I was sitting around, and he suggested to me that we start something called Deep Future, a VC firm, and we find people who we can speak to as a scientist, as a technology founder. We find people that we can speak to and that we understand their technology, and we can invest early when nobody perhaps believes in them. And pulled his network, I pulled my network, and we built the first small fund, and now we're on fund 2, and we're investing in these people. Many of them are doing well, but the power law rules, not all of them are doing well.
And I'm curious, Michael. So when you think about a deep future, like maybe go a little bit step further. When you're looking for these other technologies or these other founders, managing teams, what are some of the things that you're looking for? Like, I'm curious.
We invest in an area called deep tech. And so when you think of deep tech, you can just think of everything that's not software, advanced physics, material sciences, even neurotech, which is natural because I'm a neuroscientist.
Yeah.
And so what we're looking for is something that makes sense technically. We'll take the technical risk, right? But we're not taking market risk. You can't take both. So anything that we invest in, if it works, there's a vast market out there for it to take advantage of. And so we're investing in innovations in energy technology. We invested very early on in deep fission. And then deep fission is a nuclear power company. And they're dropping the reactors a mile into the earth. And so you can read about it. It's been making the press every day. They're about to go public, but we were amongst the first investors in that company. So it's a vast market out there. We invested in a company called Ladon Robotics. It's autonomous ships, cargo ships, that is. So you have autonomous selling cargo ships. Now, it makes sense. We've been selling for centuries, right? And, we have driving, and we have out there in California where you are, you have all these Waymo cars on the road.
Yeah.
So it makes
lots of Waymos. I love it. I'm a Waymo fan. Go ahead.
Impressive, right? And so we invest there. It was slight technical risk, but not much. But the market was vast on the other side. And these are the things we're looking for. And I think most founders feel comfortable with us. I think they feel that we speak their language. We're also scientists, So I think that we can speak the language a little bit better than maybe a lot of the other VCs.
It makes sense. And like, it makes sense that they'd want to be there because you actually understand what they're doing, the vision and otherwise. So if you're on board, then you're on board. And I'm curious on the other side of that, the investors that typically invest, are those also obviously scientifically minded scientists, things like that, or just like who's normally attracted to work with you and your team?
We've had some really smart people follow some of our investments. We're getting more and more people believing in what we're doing and following us almost blindly. And I don't know if anyone should ever do that. You should do your own due diligence. But we do have people who are investing right behind us. I'm here in Switzerland now because they probably have more innovation per capita than any other country in the world. It's a very small country, but a lot of innovation coming out of their two big universities, ETH and EPFL. No, well, I won't say nobody, but you're not going to get a lot of VCs who will come here who, lift up the hood and take a look over here because we have enough innovation in the United States. From here, I'm going to Oxford University. We're going to look at a company called Zyme. Andrew Hopkins. I made that slip before.
It's a close name. Go ahead.
Andrew Hopkins. I'm going to visit with him from here. And that's another amazing company where you're mixing AI and quantum chemistry. Amazing company. And I think once we invest in these companies, we're going to get like-minded, really cool funds. Hopefully, like the likes of one of my favorite funds is Lutz Capital. I like those, super smart. They're based in New York. I like to try to show them things if they will listen. They haven't followed any of our deals yet, but those are the type of investors I hope follow us because when we invest, we're on the founder side. And so we try to attract other investors who are on the founder side. So we went through this whole process with VC Lab. That's Adeo Rezi and Mike, who started this thing called BC Lab out in California during the pandemic. And they basically help you understand what it means to be a venture capitalist. Part of that process is they make you take an oath to act ethically. And they're trying to make a new breed of venture capitalists that does not come in, to try to earn the name of vulture capitalists, but really try to be fair and build something with the founder. And those are the type of investors that we try to attract, to follow behind and be on a board or to support our company in some way. Yeah.
You're in Switzerland. I met you in the United States. I know that you travel quite extensively, and you've created these networks of individuals. And even in your Mission Matters Mini, you talk about wanting to help make other people's like dreams and what they have going on. come true. Like, where does that come from? Like, how does that fit into your world and your ecosystem?
It stems from being a scientist. But before then, I think, there are those of us who are just really altruistic, who really want to
So
do
when
good.
if we were kids on the playground, you're like, Adam, you got that C, man. I got an A. I'm gonna help you out. Is that who you were?
Yeah, and I suffered for that too many times. My own detriment, unfortunately. I've made a
Mm.
lot of people close to me very unhappy for doing that too many times. But it speaks to something, it
It
speaks,
does. Go.
the idea of making the world a better place, the idea of
Mhm.
that when you leave this earth, it's a better place than when you got here. I mean,
Mm.
I don't know if that's because I went to Catholic school when I was very young and they kind of put that in your mind very young, the Ten Commandments and all these things. I don't know if it was because my mother is like one of those types of people. Everybody's mother is
Mm.
the same, but my mother really is guided by principle.
Mm.
All my life, she's been like that, and I'm a mother's son, so
Mhm.
I it's in who I am.
Mm.
Um, but that's not a good way to live your life, though, necessarily, because you end up compromising yourself a lot. You end up
Mm.
getting taken advantage of a lot. You end up uh, all too often on the short end of the stick.
Mm.
So I don't think people should teach their kids necessarily. I think we need to be a little bit. You need to be a little tough and not too empathetic. It can
Mm.
get in the way.
Mm.
It can get in the way, and if you don't live long enough, you may never reap the fruit of it.
Yeah.
So on the flip side of that is that when you do live a righteous life, you end up growing the network and people around you, because people come around
Mm.
you because they trust you. People come
Mm.
around you because they feel it's a safe zone, and that grows. And people want to be around you because they feel you don't have any ulterior motives, that you're authentic.
Yeah.
So it ends up, so there's two sides of that coin, but you really have to be careful. I think everyone who is like that should have a big sister, because if you have a
Mm.
big sister, they can protect
Someone to
you.
beat you up a little? No.
Well, watch your back and keep you,
Oh, okay. I took it the wrong way, Michael. My bad.
I almost I have an older gay brother, so it's quite there, but not
Yeah.
completely there. You need someone who's a little bit sharp and to watch your back. Then that
Mm.
separates my
Mm.
work.
Mm. You mentioned like people are attracted, or people come. I use that word. How do you? So now you create this network. Now, how do you? The other side of this too is that you've been able to create win-win scenarios and win-win situations, and create those types of environments as well. Like, speak on that a little bit. I'm curious.
Yeah. So as I said, we have a VC firm, Deep
Mm.
Future. Well, in the United States, there's rules in many countries about against general solicitation, and that means
Yeah.
that you cannot go raise money in the public. And this is a
Mhm.
good law because it protects unsophisticated investors.
Yeah.
So to be able to talk to people and not risk being running afoul of the SEC, we started these things that we term salons.
Mm.
When we talk about salons, we mean it in a Gertrude Stein way. So Gertrude
Yeah.
Stein in the 1920s in Paris, hosting all these amazing people at her salons. And so we
Mm.
started off in the very beginning. We set up a salon at the home of one of our LPs, one of our investors, and we invited interesting people
Mm.
like Gertrude Stein used to do. And we would pull people from my network, from Pablo's network. We would create an environment, create a very eclectic, special room. You
Mm.
can't buy your way in. You can't get in unless you're invited. And we try to create magic in these rooms. And this
Mm.
magic is what grew the network and allowed us to leverage the network to do good for people. So what do I mean by that?
Mhm.
So we're having it in your city. If we're having a salon in LA, we may say something like, "Hey, Adam, we're having one of our Deep Future salons in LA.
Mm.
On this day, would you like to join us?" The second you say yes, unbeknownst to you, the salon has begun. And
Mm.
so 2 days later, you'll get another letter saying, "Hey, we've noticed that a lot of people have been coming together and forging new, meaningful relationships.
Mm.
We'd like to facilitate that. So if you could tell us in a few words what's important to you, we'll try to curate the rest of the room so you can have the most transformational experience possible.
Mm-hmm.
The people will respond to that request.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we do over the next couple of weeks, usually we only have 10 days to 2 weeks, we try to find people in our network who can make this person's dreams come true. It could be personal, it could be helpful, it could be something they want to do in society. Most of the times people need money, it could be money related. And then 2 days before the salon, you get another email and it says, hey, Adam, you could come and drink and eat and be merry and talk to the wall.
Yeah.
However, you would like to speak to someone, we'll suggest these 3 people, sometimes 4. And it'd be a little picture, a square. It'd be a description of the person, like a link to something online about them. And then a sentence or 2 as to why that person can be meaningful for you. And so now you've only had 2 days, but you arrive, you know who you want to talk to in the room. You know what you want to talk about. You know how that person can be meaningful. So you go in there and you're armed with this. And everybody kind of knows we do this, but they don't know what we did. And so there's excitement. There's a magic. So when you look at the end result, quite a bit of money is exchanged hands. We put people together that they're dating now. We've gotten people into we got people into clinical trials that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to get into. Had some success in some cases, and sometimes it didn't turn out well. But what we do is leverage our network. And so we've done this in 14 cities around the world. 65 in a couple of days. We're doing our 65th one here in Lausanne, Switzerland. And people fly in. People fly in.
What number? What did you say? The fifth? What did you say? I didn't hear the number.
65th. We've done this 65, 64 times.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Continue. I just want to make sure I heard that right. Go ahead.
So part of it is we have to have a venue that's most people would never see or see in that way. You know, that's like the third protagonist. And then we balance the room out. No one industry can dominate the room. There can only be 3 finance people, only 3 actors, only, you know, so the mix. You're not going to have all this jargon going on with our guests. We balance it all out. Everything we balance out. And then we let it rip. So, and we come up with great ideas. So we had an après-ski Manhattan party in January because everyone was so cute when they're skiing here in Switzerland or in Aspen, and they have one of their nice ski suits. So we said, let's do it in Manhattan. We'll have Deep Future après-ski salon, New York City. You had to wear a ski suit, helmet and goggles, no boots allowed. And we had it on a rooftop where the roof retracted, and the Tao group supported us and made the place look like a whole chalet in San Moritz. And people showed up. And so, and money exchanges hands because there's trust between the people. But now, with the addition of AI, I can take our network, our database, 13,400 plus people, over 800 billionaires have come into our rooms, these 64 events. And now I can say, okay, here's a guy who's really concerned about his daughter having a job. Here's her CV. Who in my database makes sense for what she wants to do? I could do that with AI. I could take Claude and I could say, go through my database and match the best people in this city that would have this interest to support this effort. I could say, here's a group like Action Against Hunger, who you know. We could take them and say, they have a great record. They have low administrative costs. Whose values align with this most likely that we could put them in a room with? And so now we're leveraging the network, not just to find good companies to invest in, not just find good LPs who are aligned with our values to join the team. We're using it to actually have positive impact in an efficient way in so many people's lives.
Congrats on the 65. Wow, that's an extreme amount of consistency to build that and to build those relationships and that trust. That's absolutely amazing. One other component that I know that you're active and involved in is that the philanthropic or kind of the giving back side of things. Like how does that work into your ecosystem?
I've always supported groups that I believed in, you know, because and that started because when I first moved back to the United States from Switzerland, I felt like people came to me to introduce them to people, always for money. And it was just, it's dehumanizing at a point, because you're just around people you may or may not like, around people whose values may not be aligned with yours, and it's all in the quest for money. And this can be, as I said, this is not how I want to spend 100% of my time. And then I realized one time I called someone and told them about a cause that somebody was supporting in a 5-minute conversation. And they said, "Oh, I want to support that." And I said, "Wow, is that easy?" So I started putting some of my friends on the spot. I said, "You say this is what's important to you. Well, over here, you could do that. Put your money there. Know the guys, check them out, look at it. But where are you putting your money if you're not backing them? Those are the teams you need to back."
Yeah.
So I've been doing that type of thing off and on for 15 years. But now, armed with this database, armed with all these people I've grown close to, I can now have really heart-to-heart conversations and know who to talk to. And I can push people or nudge them towards causes that they sometimes have never even heard about, So we do that every chance we get.
Man, what a great story. Michael, man, you over deliver as always. It's been great having you back on the show. I just have to ask, what's next? What's next for you? What's next for the salons, for Deep Future? Like, what's next for Michael?
Exciting times, because we've had some real successes in Fund 1, and we're using that momentum we have there with Fund 2, and we're hoping to be able to back some of our winners and find more companies. We want to invest in another 50 companies. Well, we invested in 46, but we want to invest in another 50 companies with Fund 2 now. We're more confident than ever before. We're looking where people are not, like here in Switzerland, like in England. We're using our network to just keep doing what we're doing and just make people's lives better all around with everything we do. We're going to do more of that. We're going to get better at it. So I'm excited about the future.
Fantastic. If they want to follow up, they want to connect and learn more about your work or the funds, how do they do that?
They don't really do that. I'm very private. I just want to inspire people with our story to use their position. The same thing. I have 13,400 friends. I don't need any more friends, but I want people to be inspired. I want people to go out there, and I want people to make other people's lives better. I want them to figure out how they can use wherever they are in their space to just make it happen for other people besides themselves, and then to also not forget themselves, because that's the real problem too. So if you look on my LinkedIn, it says 100 people and cooling. So I don't accept anybody. If I accept another person, I fire a person that's there before. So I never let it get over 100. My business partner would be upset with me, Pablos, for saying that. He's more, you can reach out to him easily. He's available.
And I know that he has a book out as well. So how do people grab that so they can learn more about just the vision?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, he has a book called Deep Future, and it's a bit of an autobiography of his life growing up during the age of computers. He grew up with computers. So people had a dog or, a favorite toy. He had, his computers. He had his computers that he took apart and tried to understand how they work. Yeah, and he's a bit of I think he was like a child prodigy. Because he was originally known for being a hacker. So they have a different way of seeing the world, and that's the vision he takes you through. Which is, the book is really entertaining. God bless his mother. She just passed recently. I didn't get to know her, but she said something very funny after she read his book. She said, Pablos, I'm not just saying this because I'm your mother. This is really a good book. And I'm not I told him to put it on the book. He didn't, but I mean, what an endorsement, right?
That's the best. He should have.
But it's it's a fun read.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links to the book in the show notes so that you can click on it, pick up a copy, and learn more about what's going on over at Deep Future. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. You heard me correct. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So hit that subscribe or follow button. And Michael, man, appreciate you coming back on. Until the next time.
Till the next time. Take care, Adam.